Hey guys, this is Anthony Romrell, and in this video, we are going to UV map this table. So as you can see, we're returning to one of our first models, and we're going to do what's called a UV map. A UV map is essentially taking a 3D model and enabling it so we can texture it in 2D space. So we're going to first go to our workspace, go to UV editing, and we're going to right click on this table, go to object mode, and we're going to first open up this create menu. And we're going to click on planar. And what it's going to do is just make a plane across the table. Then we're going to right click and we're going to go to edge. And we're going to shift select. Let's just zoom in and get a little closer. Shift select this edge all the way around the table. And that's going to take us just a minute. And we'll tumble around here. Try hold that shift key down. It's going to take just a minute. And you can see I have selected an edge going all the way around the base of the table. And I'm going to come over here to cut and sew. Open that up. I'm going to hit cut. Okay. Then we're going to take just another look here and I'm going to cut off the legs. So I'm going to select around each leg. Holding the shift key. Okay, I believe that's all selected and we're going to hit cut. So that's going to cut the bottom off and it's going to cut the legs off. Then we're going to select, some of these didn't look like they were cut, so we'll try again. On our display, a couple things we want. We're going to highlight, first of all, this first one. This is UV shells. Then we're going to highlight this one. This is texture border. And we're going to highlight that one, that shell border, and we're going to highlight this one, grid display. So, and you can highlight some others, experiment if you want, but what I'm basically trying to do is just see the UVs as I'm cutting along. Okay, now what I'm going to do is double click the inside of this each leg, hold the shift key, and what that should do is allow me to select the whole thing. If it doesn't select the whole thing, you'll have to manually select it, right? We're going to do a cut on the leg there. I'm going to cut right here, here, and here, 3 sides on the base of the leg. Doesn't necessarily matter which 3, but you're going to cut 3 sides. So one side will stay attached. And you know what? I didn't hold the shift key when I did that, so I got to do it again. Not sure what key I was pressing. So 3 sides of the bottom. Okay, and we'll hit cut. And not everything's going to cut right, and it's going to be really hard, and this is probably confusing because you're thinking, what am I cutting this up for? Basically, we're going to lay this out so that we can, after we lay it out, we can texture it with some color, with some materials, with some paint, right? And paint. Let's kind of explain it here. You know, we have it. So we have this 3D model, right? But what we're limited to is a 2D texture. There's no such thing as a 3D texture. So it's 2D, right? Like a Photoshop file or a PNG file or a GIF file. They're all 2D, right? They have X and they have Y, or Y and X, right? Well, this has X, Y, and Z. So what we do is X, Y, and Z is already reserved in 3D space. So what we do in Maya is we call this, instead of X and Y, we call this U and V. And then we plot positions in space. And basically we're unfolding as if it were a stuffed animal toy. We're unfolding this like it's an origami piece of paper. Maybe that's a good way to explain it. So that we can texture map, right? That is the concept. So back to this table, what we're going to do now is, I think I got my cuts right. We're going to go back to object mode, or you can hit F8. And we're going to go to unfold and click unfold. And you can see it's trying to unfold the table. Now, I didn't get all my cuts right. So I have to do some more cuts. But I can kind of see where this is messed up a little bit. So I'm going to go around here and a few more cuts, right? So obviously there's something strange connected here. So edge mode again, and I'm going to hit cut, double click on that, hit cut. Basically the legs need to come apart. I'm not sure exactly what I'm seeing here. So face, that's the table, right? So something right here didn't come apart, right? So edge mode, we'll do another cut. Looks like that should have cut, but see, sometimes we just, if we don't know exactly, sometimes we get a little extreme and just, we cut it all, right? Let's just cut. Get that thing to come apart. This didn't cut for some reason. Not sure why. So we'll cut it. Okay. Now we'll do this again. So object mode, select the whole thing and unfold. And okay, we're getting somewhere. It's a little better. But it really should be, a little nice looking. See, that's a bit of a mess. Right, so we're going to go to UV shell now. That's a pretty good shell, right? Hit W, and we'll start moving things, right? You can tell that there's just some things that are a little messed up that just aren't unfolding correctly. So I'm going to take this little section right here, go to edge, and you know what? I'm going to cut this off too. Hit Q, hold the shift key, and hit cut. And what you're going to do is just go around this model and cut it. Keep cutting pieces off. This part should be sewn back together. So we're going to sew that. It's going to make a mess, right? This part, probably cut. Right? That part should be cut. This part should probably be cut. And we'll try to unfold it again, right? It's a bit crazy. So that part looks pretty good. This should be cut right here probably. So we'll go to edge. We'll cut that piece off. Okay. And object mode again, unfold. Okay. And now, just to kind of see what we're doing, we're going to go to arrange and layout, and we're going to just hit layout. And, it's too many pieces, right? We've made too many cuts. So now we've got to go around and sew this back together. So what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to put the legs back together and the table itself back together. So, if I were to go to face mode, or let's go to UV shell, right? That's a clear, good piece of geometry, right? In fact, I'm going to straighten that out and hit W, kind of move it to the side. This one seems like a good piece, right? It's recognizable, doesn't stretch much, right? Now, these other pieces, it's hard to say what they are. But what we can do is go to edge mode here, and we'll select an edge. We want it to be cut in the back. So this edge, we're going to, instead of sewing it, we're going to have it jump. So when it sews, right here, if we click this sew button, it's going to jump and make a funny thing. So we're going to hit Z to undo. What we'll do is we'll hit stitch together. Okay. And then we'll go to UV shell mode, right? Hit W. And that's a better piece. Now, let's go to this other side, this edge. That's the back. We don't want it, but maybe this front. You can see that's a good piece. So we'll select that and we'll say stitch together, right? And it grabbed a bunch of other pieces. That's okay on that top. Let's sew that. And we'll kind of do the same process, right? So this is that back part of the leg right there. I don't want that to be sewn. Let's check out this one. This one can work. And we'll say stitch together, right? So you can see I've got one leg now pretty much laid out. Let's sew that one. So that almost looks like a leg. Then this little bottom part right here, we're going to say, let's hit stitch together, see what we get. Okay, there's that little bottom part. And I think this leg is probably done, right? We'll unfold it one more time. Right here, we should cut. We should do a little cut here. And, you know, if I'm being honest, it's going to be really hard for you to know. This UV shell, that's pretty good. That's a good leg, right? That leg's pretty good. This leg, messy leg, right? So what we'll do is go to edge mode. And we'll hit stitch together. Okay. And that made this little shell kind of crazy little piece over here. Right. And what's the next piece? Let's go to edge. That's a good piece. Stitch that together. This one here, let's stitch that together. Okay. And that little piece in the middle, stitch that together. And we've got a decent little island right there. Right, UV shell, UV island is kind of the same thing. That's a mess. See that's a messy leg here. We don't know what it is. So we try to identify it by we'll go to face mode here, or we'll go to what we want to do is make a cut. So you know what I just didn't do? I just didn't cut this in the back. So we're going to go to edge right here, and we're going to hit shift and we'll select those two pieces, and we're going to cut it. Right, so cut. And let's go to the bottom here, select 3 faces, and we'll cut it. Now we're going to take this UV shell and just unfold it, right? Unfold. Okay. Right, that's quite a mess. That's not what we expected. So let's undo that. Let's go to object mode and unfold, right? And then we'll return in another video to finish this off because, you know, YouTube has a limit. So object mode, and we'll unfold this whole thing again. And you know, for whatever reason, the thing's unfolding very strangely. So we're going to undo that, return in another video.